Both teams really keeping their cards held close to their chest. It seems like in this draft.
Mm,
Still not really
yeah.
revealing too much. Like you haven't got the heart of these drafts out yet.
No, definitely not. The Tusk Grimstroke is something we've seen a lot though, and I want to say that's something Signal actually ran yesterday as well. Although I do believe they had a different lineup then, but it's highly effective. You've got great damage amp, great presence in lane, great potential to rotate now, and you've got the saving moves from the Tusk. So the snowball to dodge certain spell uses can turn the tide, and we've seen that done before. So I can't blame Signal Ultra for going back to this stable here. It's just really valuable, and again, doesn't lock you in to any sort of playstyle just yet.
Oh, Execration now, they do show their hand a little bit. They go for the Troll Warlord. You don't have anything like an Oracle there to really keep up the sustain of that Troll, but ultimately it is also into a DK, which could be somewhat concerning. It's not like the Troll really enjoys that high armor based kind of hero like the DK. So I'm a bit intrigued by this pick. You could make
Yeah,
the
it's
argument perhaps it was a deny pick away from the side of Signal Ultra, as they may have picked that into the quad.
yeah. I I I think the troll is going to be able to give Execration a lot more push. We saw that with Geek Fam. They just had Raven start pushing a lot
Ooh.
earlier. They do pick up a great counter to that though. The Venomancer coming out is going to be able to kite around the troll. So you've got to worry about the Grimstroke Leash, the Tusk Shards coming out, now the Slow is coming out from the Venomancer. Not going to be the easiest time for our troll to just chase people down. And that can be a bit of an issue for Execration.
You reckon that's where do you lane the Venomancer?
Hmm. In this case, it's tricky. Like it can go well a bit up against a Queen of Pain. It does just kind of throw out the wards and start farming up. At the same time, if you wanted to pressure the troll, it does well in the offline. So there is some flexibility there. It really depends on what Signal wants to keep a lid on. Do they want to slow down the troll or the Quap? I feel like you're gonna get more value down mid because the Veno can just clear the side camps a bit better than a DK could, for example. So you get a bit more farm efficiency from the Veno in that sense. And the DK is still gonna annoy the troll anyway.
Ultra. One last pickup now. They did ban out the LC to finish off their ban phase. 3 seconds reserve time if they want to have a think about it, I guess. And this will reveal where this Venomancer is going.
10 seconds remaining.
It's a bit of an awkward draft. You haven't really got a solid safe lane core right now on Signal Ultra. That might be what they want to go for, and they do. They do end up going for the PL. You do have wave clear in the form of the Queen of Pain, but ultimately up against that Troll Warlord, the PL should have a decent enough time. I
Yeah,
like the finish.
I think it's a solid pick for Signal. You would expect the troll now to have to build into the Battle Fury, which we've seen a lot of teams do. That will delay the timing of the
10
troll. You know, it
seconds
takes a
remaining.
bit longer for it to start joining these fights when you go for that kind of build-up.
5
So there's an
seconds
opening
remaining.
for Signal to force their draft out. You know, all four of their heroes do come online fairly quick. Even the PL, I suppose, with just a Yasha Diffusal, can start applying some pressure as well. So it's a great pick for Signal Ultra to tie it off. Execration, they've got they have some options here to surprise us. They could still put the Queen of Pain off lane if they wanted to deal with that PL. That is an option, and pick something else mid if they want to build up for a core that can clear out the illusions a bit better. Or again, they could just go with Quap down mid anyway and last pick the offlaner. It just feels like with the flexibility here, you might be better off with a surprise down mid instead.
They'll take their time, Execration. 25 seconds left. They really don't have the greatest way of dealing with the PL thus far. Not many amazing options left to really go into to deal with this PL. You can try to rely on the Troll and go for that Battle Fury build that we see so often, but it's not always the, it doesn't always really work out. Okay, Underlord will be the pickup, and I guess it kind of works out. I don't know if that's the precise pick you were looking for up against this draft of Signal Ultra, but you tell me, John, is this a good pick?
I think it's value. You've got great control to build off of for the rest of your stuns. You've got easy, solid setup to land the AA Blast now. The Underlord just makes it really hard for Abbat to find that early farm just by his presence. So I think it's great. You have a solid hero to build you a pipe to mitigate the damage coming out from Van. You do have certain ways of just stopping Signal from snowballing too hard just with the Underlord. So I think it
10
does tie up
seconds
their draft
remaining.
nicely. Doesn't necessarily melt the PL later down
5
the line.
seconds remaining.
But if you are focusing on a faster game, you just need to keep the PL suppressed for a while, if that is the case.
Gonna be a pretty interesting match. Again, it's the debut of Execration throughout the BTS Pro Series 2. The Signal Ultra still trying to get their first win on the board for this group stage. Currently just kind of sitting at that last place spot with RR, not really looking great yet, but they do have a chance to get some points out now. Every point matters. The group stages won't last forever, so they need to get it as fast as possible.
It's only so many matchups to play, and well, this one is really even though. Again, just historically, 1-1-1. It could go either way. There haven't been enough games between these two recently to really weigh it out. I think when it comes down to the draft, depending on how fast Execration plays, they can take over fairly quick. It's just down to the amount of damage they get really early on. You don't see the same damage coming out from Signal's draft, so there's a time where an Execration does peak a little early.
We'll get into a game number 1 between these two. Is set to begin. See if they do any kind of lane swaps here. Generally speaking, you did mention you don't really want to run the PO up against the Underlord. He may not really have a choice though, because it's not like you can really run the PL in the off lane up against the Troll Warlord. So he's just gonna kind of make it work.
Yeah, it's gonna be tricky for Abbat to find that farm. We've seen him under that kind of high pressure situation as well, and he does still find a farm, but it's never the best of starts. So we'll see just how much Signal tosses out to him. They are starting out with an aggressive tri-lane down bot first, perhaps to secure that first blood with a Tusk.
Should be easy. So, assuming they can break the gap there and just get onto Palos on that Troll.
30 seconds to battle.
Palos still sticking around. Eris is going to get in there for the tag team, and now the Stroke of Fate is out as well, but they don't want to go up to that high ground. Van is going to be the one to take all the harassment out here from the side of Execration. And Execration seemingly had a very similar idea. Neither team really finding any kind of kill, but they get plenty of damage out. They might go for a bit of a fight over this bot bounty rune. Van, do you really want to try for this? No, they'll just let it go.
Yeah, it's still looking like a 3-for-1 start, going the way of Signal. Going the way of Execration. So it's a lot nicer for them. They've got a bit of a lead. Should help them out, just finding that early advantage, and it does look like they'll maintain the tri-lane just for a bit longer.
I mean, that's just generally what you do, though. Well, I was going to say that's what you do if you're Signal Ultra with the Tusk. Not sure about this with the Nyx AA, and yeah, they'll bring Yaha out of there, bring him up to the top lane. I don't think the Underlord's going to have as amazing of a time as you'd hope if he's left alone up against Grims on that Grimstroke. Yaha will get involved early on in that Nyx, try to harass Grims out and away from BHM. The thing is, like, for BHM, if he's just solo up against the Bat, he's just going to be able to deny the living hell out of him with that Atrophy Aura.
Just really straightforward for the Underlord. You don't expect too much pressure from a PL, especially in these early levels. Again, it's really down to the supports to try to zone each other out here.
I don't know about this though. Like Grims does have to get involved with trying to combat BHM on the Underlord. We'll have a look at the other lanes, because that's arguably probably going to be the most stable lane, to say the least. Mid lane, you'll see Ben-Hur versus Jamesy on the DK. And that's kind of another stable lane. Like, James is going to take a lot of harassment early on, but ultimately he should just be able to sustain with Dragon Blood, as we've seen many, many times.
Yeah, it's just how the DK goes. Once you have that Soul Ring up, you're going to be able to just constantly push the wave out. Ben-Hur as well, of course, has great wave clear. Really just not too much opportunities to really go for the Trote there.
Well, Palos going to be in trouble bot lane. The tag team has been activated by Eris, but he won't continue as the Cold Feet was also there from RR. It's a real dangerous combination though, that Veno Tusk. Because once you've connected the Gale, it's so easy for Eris to just break the gap and run in with tag team. And he does have the shards as well, so you have that extra lockdown. In fact, here we go again. You don't have the tag team this time. He does throw out the shards, trying to get that Cold Feet off. And now, Eris, are you going to really try and dive this tier 1 tower? Maybe a bit of miscommunication, as Van had focused his attention onto RR instead. But they do still get a hell of a lot of damage out onto Palos.
Yeah, and I'm liking the movement from both sides. I think RR has been on point in breaking up that aggression, and a nice dodge from Palos to ensure that his salve does finish up in the end.
Bit of a pull here from Yaha up at top lane, but Abat will combat that with the Radiant Creep. Execration trying to find every advantage they can get in this off lane with the Underlord. So far, Abat is still farming just fine. It is only level 1 a Trophy Aura to be fair, so it's not too much of a minus damage coming out from Abat. But ultimately, he is just going pretty swell. He looks unaffected right now.
Yeah, it's down to the fact that BHM can't really zone him out from creeps. Abat is in a position where he can just have the creeps chase him instead, find the last hits. He does have that Wraith Band up and running, so there's a little bit more leeway there, although loses his second Wraith Band in the Courier.
It's a nice snipe from Yaha. Impower comes out onto Grims. He's trying to get that pull off on that double stacked small camp. Yaha will not allow it. Meanwhile, mid lane, a bit of a rotation coming in from Eris, but there's really no chance of getting Ben-Hur here. They wanted to try and secure the power room, but now Ben-Hur is going to make the jump with the double damage. He won't quite get Jamesy. Eris does come back in, but doesn't have any mana. So can't really turn on the tag team or the shards. Ben-Hur, even though he did not have Blink available at that time, will just be perfectly safe.
And just like that, Jamesy is forced to walk back to base. Gonna have to TP back in and miss out on a lot. This might be enough to give Ben-Hur a lot of progress towards that level 6, and that's the mark where the Quap can go for the kill.
Ben-Hur is just going to have a free lane for now. He's already out leveling Jamesy as well. He's a full level ahead, about to hit that level 6 mark. We go back for the bounty runes now, Ben-Hur. It's a really great start for the side of Execration, knowing that their Quap is having a decent old time. This tends to happen anyway, I suppose, right? Like the Quap will eventually just outscale the DK in lane.
Yeah, it's not as much sustain for Jamesy. I mean, it's a physical resist, right? Like a lot of damage right now is magical.
Bot lane, Palos does end up getting Eris. They were diving the tier 1 tower, trying to secure that Troll Warlord kill, but he gets away with his life intact, and now there's just going to be another salve to come out from RR. Donating some regen, back the way of his POS 1. This is giving a lot of time to Van, though, who has been just safely farming away in the lane. He is about 10 last hits behind Palos, but he has got that urn up now and looks to try and build into a Spirit Vessel. I've got to say, every lane is basically just trading farm. Like, that was actually our first kill of the game so far, down at that bot lane.
Yeah,
Neither team's really making the jump in.
it does feel a lot more cautious from both sides. I think that's mainly because they understand just how aggressive each side can play. They're trying to temper it out. Just find a stable farm on their pause ones, which seems to be the name of the game, and the supports are the ones that will end up trading here.
RR gonna be in trouble down at bot lane. He's got the tag team on top of him though. Eris, it's just not enough damage. Snowball, Eris, he missed the Veno. Doesn't quite drag Van in, and that means Van is gonna die. Just a really easy kind of mistake to make, but it does cost him.
Yeah, and that does mean that, again, you're bleeding a lot more towards Palos. He's going to be happy about these pickups, although he does miss a couple of blast hits for that, but it's perfectly fine. It's a great exchange to have, and Signal, the aggression we were expecting from the Tusk is not as successful as you'd expect it to be.
He's got the level 2 tag team. It just feels like it hasn't done much. The damage output just really isn't stacking up. Then again, like, you don't really expect too much out of the Veno auto attacks. He does attack quite softly in a way. Top lane, they try onto a bat on the PL. He will just doppel out. Gotta say, BHM is really starting to pull ahead now on that Underlord. Currently 49 and 9. Nice impale out from Yaha on a bat. May actually just die here. In fact, he does. He doesn't have Doppelganger available. And now BHM just going to continue pulling ahead. Thus far, he's top of the net worth board.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic start for BHM. I think the one thing that Signal failed to address was that all these stacks that we're building up just helps the Underlord. He can clear them out himself with a Firestorm, even if you do get a pull off, so it's just easy for him to find that gold.
Now Ben-Hur mid lane, gonna go on to Jamesy. Yaha gonna be there with the Spike Carapace and Impale setup. He doesn't even need it. Ben-Hur will just Sonic Wave and Execration thus far 4-0. Signal Ultra yet to get a kill onto the board. And I gotta say, if this keeps up, things can get really out of hand here for Execration. I question their draft during the drafting stage. But if they're going to find this much farm and they're going to out-level Signal Ultra by this much, then the draft's no problem. In fact, Van now ends up dying on the Veno.
Yeah, it's just all of that aggression coming out from Signal with her Tusk has not been paying off. Van is constantly caught out. Again, the counter moves from Execration are just enough. It's the threat of the cold feet and the follow-up that prevents them from actually finding these kills.
Mid lane, Ben-Hur does get the courier snipe on Pora Bat's courier. It's going to be the second time it's died. And he realizes that there is a PL farming the jungle right now. They have some great observer wards out in that dire jungle. And it's just great to see the side of Execration. Just understanding that this PL, the one way to really make sure he never becomes a problem is just never let him farm. He's just consistently been behind the side of Execration. About 1k behind the Queen of Pain herself.
Yeah,
and in terms of the Underlord, 1.5k.
It's been a really slow start for Abed, and since he lost his tier 1 top, you know, the space to farm has shrunk. As you mentioned, a lot of good wards coming out from Execration. A 5k advantage at 6k advantage at the 10-minute mark. That's nothing to scoff at. The Signal is bleeding out hard. They need to find a way to make their aggression work. Like you mentioned, the urn timing from Ban, yeah, it was out really early. The urn's useless when you don't find any charges though, so they really need to find some early wins, but...
And Jamesy getting jumped on here, the Ice Blast is out, though Yaha will die. Jamesy will remain safe, and now Ben-Hur will be chased down. He does have the blink though, so he can just kind of wait if he needs to. He will use it, but doesn't really feel the necessity to. That was the first Ice Blast of the game coming out onto the DK, but it doesn't really pan out to a kill, and that will mean that Signal Ultra does get their first kill of the game.
Yeah.
Oh, Ben-Hur just jumped in with the Scream Sonic Wave, just blows up Jamesy.
Yeah, stuck around a bit too long, was low, and should have noticed Ben-Hur had it up and didn't use it, so it's a bit of a greedy play, immediately punished. And again, Execration just finding everything on the map. They've reached a point where Palos is just freely farming in the jungle, saving up for the Battle Fury build, and everyone else is just giving him all the space in the world. They're not able to hunt down this troll.
He's going to be enjoying himself, this troll. Going straight into that B Fury like you mentioned, and he's going to have a very, very nice timing on that. Interestingly enough, does actually opt to go for the Perseverance first. Bot lane, however, BHM, again securing another kill, this time on the Venomancer. And Van has not had a good time at all. He's currently 0-3-0. And with that going down, you know, these Underlords, John, they tend to hit really, really hard. So, he's got a lot of bonus damage on him right now. If you leave him alone in lane, he will just take that tier 1 tower very easily.
That he will, and this is really just starting to pile up for Signal. Again, Van is saving up for the Spirit Vessel, which is great. It's fantastic to mitigate the heals coming out. You need to get charges for that to be effective, and he doesn't have too much space to farm it. You're giving a lot of that space towards Abat in the jungle. There's no safe area for Van, and that just means he's always constantly exposed to this high damage output from Execration now.
So what do they do though? Like Signal Ultra, you're kind of mentioning they need to try and be more aggressive. What do you think they need to do?
They probably just smoke up, group up as a 3 or 4, find literally any kill. You would want the bigger cores, but you would take just the supports, just to give yourself a bit of a bounce back in. But they really just haven't been able to group up more than 2 beyond the laning phase. Like Eris has been stuck bot. He has not gotten as many rotations out. So the potency early of that Tusk is also missing because he has to babysit Van.
And I wonder at this stage, like with the Venomancer suffering this much, will it ever really have any impact this game? So we've seen this before where if you don't have a good laning stage as a Veno, you tend to just not be a hero. He's still trying to build into that Spirit Vessel to try and deal with the Underlord for later on. But now we have a smoke up from Execration. Ben-Hur's smoke does break. He just jumps in straight onto Van again. A great pit of Malice, and well, Van, he will or should blow up, but that Ice Blast not connecting on him. Now Eris trying to fight back with the Inkswell. He will be able to just try and run out of there. But Ben, he's just going to try and TP before he ticks out to the poison damage. Grims goes down on the Grimstroke. Yaha does secure the kill on the Nyx Assassin. And I believe the Shadow Strike of the Queen of Pain actually ended up ticking out the Veno.
Yeah, they just find another favorable trade with that smoke here on Execration's side. That was Signal grouping up 3 heroes though in the lane. So they are trying. They're trying to find some counter pulls. It's just not enough. And you're at the point now where Yaha has 4 charges on the urn, is a recipe away, and they're still going.
This Underlord, man, he is making it terrifying to play in this bot lane. The Ice Blast will essentially be avoided there for Van, but Dark Rift, Yaha, not going to be able to get him out. You can at least take the AA with you. Signal Ultra being forced to bring Jamesy down to the bot lane with that Dragon form. Suppose at the very least now you can try and go after that bottom tier 1 tower, but you can already see the side of Execration now posturing around that mid tier 1. And Palos has the B Fury up. He has plenty of damage right now. Now Bat doesn't really have anything to contest, but he's going to have to.
Yeah, it's going to be really difficult for Signal to maintain any form of control in their jungle once that mid-tier 1 goes in. Even that push-down bot was just mitigated by BHM. He just has too much wave clear, too much control, and they're kind of forced back again on Signal's side. So they're still yet to find their first objective 15.5 minutes in. But this is something they should be looking for because they have the DK.
I can't believe BHM's already got a pipe up. He's just gone ahead and just farmed up a pipe with Phase Boots and Soul Ring with a Bracer Wand and Quelling Blade. He's going straight into the Crimson Guard. You know, once you get to that point where you have Crimson Guard and pipe on your Underlord, your whole team feels invincible. You could just take 5v5 team fights and nobody's gonna die.
Yeah. It's really down to the fact that BHM has almost as much farm as Palas. That's a troll with Battle Fury the Underlord's keeping up with. And Signal has been consistently unable to bully the Underlord. Like, he was at his weakest, level 1 to 3. They could not just force themselves onto him, and because of that, it's been a free start. Is really durable. The rest of his team now really durable. The damage, the biggest thing here is that the damage from Van is not going to do anything anymore.
Oh, Signal, they've smoked up now, going after Ben-Hur. Nice Dragon Tail in from Jamesy. That should secure the Quap kill, and they do get it.
I'm glad I could be of
It's going to be a very valuable kill. The gold going to Grims, but I think the XP would be well worth it for the side of Signal. It's just a matter of what they can make out of this, though. Like, they've got the Dragon form up, but can they actually push an objective down?
Well, they've got to act fast because Palos is just solo pushing the top tier 2. It is pretty much gone.
That's not good. Mid lane, a big team fight. RR going down, and now Yaha also ends up dying. Just getting caught with their pants down, apparently, and... Well, there was... Yaha's claiming lag.
Summoned in. Abed saying them as well.
Oh, I see.
Ever since before starting. Yeah, ever since before starting, everyone's been lagging. PLDC. Classic.
Oh, well.
Of course, Signal, yeah, sure. Just toss that out there.
Just toss it out. You may as well.
Oh, boy.
Oh, the classic. We'll get back into it. Yeah, I mean, at the very least, Palos did find the top tier 2 tower. And now we'll just go down to the bot lane where he can try to harass out a bat. Of course, those PL illusions right now are really no problem for Palos because he can just quell them down with that Battle Fury. But there is a Diffusal Blade on a bat now. So that mana drain is a little bit frustrating to have to deal with.
Yeah, it makes it hard for Palos to try to get the chase down. Just because you can get that inhibit off, and suddenly the chase stops. So Abbott Palos just goes back to farming. Yeah, they still have a lot more control here on the side of Execration, and they do still maintain an 8k lead at 17 minutes in. That's a sizable lead still. Signal has to really start kicking it in. They do finish up the Spirit Vessel and Van, so they can stop some of that strong regen that Execration does have.
Hit a Malice again. Grims, he does take the outpost for his team, but it may cost him his life. BHM just unafraid. He keeps moving forward. Grims with the Ink Swell now, but Palos will keep his distance. And here we go again.
Yikes.
RR disconnecting from the game.
It blew up.
It blew up.
Blew up. Blew up.
What blew up?
I know, the internet, the router, whatever. Something blew up in their network. There you go.
All right, we're back.
All right.
And it should still be a very easy kill here. Palos gets stunned for a second, but ultimately will find the kill onto the Grimstroke. They're just on their way to extending that net worth lead and just starting to push down objectives again. Like, BHM has got the Vanguard up, John. He's getting very close to that Crimson Guard.
Yeah, at that point, you're just not doing damage. The only thing to really tie this up for BHM is a Guardian Greaves, although probably not going to be getting that anytime soon because of the phase. But still, plump up from both sides.
Yeah, but Yaha's got that Vendetta. He has eyes on everything right now. They jump in, however, the Quap in trouble. A great stun, and he actually gets him out of there. Now the Sonic Wave and the Pit of Malice burning down Eris and foe and friends. The PL, very, very low. A bat does manage to barely get out. That was an extremely close call for Ben-Hur. But he does manage to just blink out of there on the back of that Nyx Impale.
Yeah, Yaha has been on point with the positioning and the visibility here. Signal, I mean, they are behind by a significant amount, but you need to start investing in a lot more sentries when you do take these fights. Yaha is just going to be a continuous annoyance and very disruptive hero, just lining up the stuns, and we've been seeing that combo with the Pit from the laning phase. You can't allow them to keep chain stunning you like that.
How's our PL doing about? trying to build into that Manta now. Thing is, you've got a BKB completed on Palos, and as I look away, Grims ends up dying once again, this time to RR on the AA. I don't think you want to stay too close around BHM right now. They're going to try and delay that bounty room being taken. Luckily for the side of Signal Ultra, he did not have Pit of Malice at that time. And Jamesy as well, going to find a double damage on his way out. See if he can get a kill for himself, and yeah, he'll make the jump. Easy kill onto the support AA. BHM was not in range to try to go for the pit. The DK will just run out of there safely.
Just a nice little pickup for Signal. Not the biggest thing in the world, but you are looking for anything you can get. I think it's starting to be a bit clear that Palos cannot just chase down the Phantom Lancer. He has been trying to chase Abbott by himself, but the inhibit and the mana drain is a bit too much. So if they do want to hunt Abbott, they need to give Palos a bit of backup still. This might be the opportunity to go into the pit.
Maybe. That's exactly what they're doing. It does get scanned out. Of course, Signal Ultra definitely want to try and fight this. The question is, will Execration keep trying to go for the Roshan? Those shards will scout out, but BHM, feeling very confident, will just keep going. Yaha will scout out a bat. Does see the rest of the team. They do dust up the Nyx Assassin, but he's fine. Pit of Malice right outside the pit. Now the Soulbind. Ice Blast to fly through as well with the Sonic Wave. Ben-Hur just destroying Signal Ultra. A battle go down as well. Now Eris to go down on the task. Oh, and an Ice Blast into a Sonic Wave is going to be the worst nightmare of Signal Ultra. At least Van, he does end up killing off BHM on the Underlord. So you do find a couple kills there on the side of Execration, even the Troll Warlord going down. But ultimately, they should be able to come back and clean up that Roche pretty easily.
Yeah, it's just going to take a bit of time because you've got to wait for Palos to be back up. Still, favorable trade for Execration. Signal, I mean, it would have been nice if they just lost maybe their supports, but dropping Abbat really hurts that entire exchange. You need your PL to build off of these, and he just hasn't been able to maximize that. You are, however, starting to see Van kick in. That is because the Spirit Vessel is starting to inhibit BHM. So the that Underlord's not looking as tanky as long as the Spirit Vessel is on him. The issue is Van is starting to run out of charges once more.
That is true. He only has one charge left, and this Van is dying a little too quickly in these team fights, so he's not able to actually get those charges up. At least for them, Execration, they will not go back into the Roshan pit quite yet. I say that though, they have smoked up. Palos, not really smoked, he may just run straight in. They're going to loop around through the dire jungle, finding Grims on that Grimstroke, getting the Impale, getting the Pit of Malice, and it's going to be another easy pick off here for BHM. They're not even done yet. Ben-Hur going to jump straight onto Van, gets the Orchid off, and with that, they should eventually just get this kill. He does use the Hood of Defiance, but now the Ice Blast going to fly through with the Spirit Vessel, and that is a guaranteed kill. And Yaha will just say, thank you very much, I'll take the kill. And it's back into that Roshan for Palos and BHM. And that'll be the first Roshan of the game going down now for Execration. Palos with the Aegis, and a 13k net worth lead for the side of Execration.
They've got everything they could possibly want now. They've got the Crimson Guard up and running on BHM as well. So all the durability in the world here now. And Signal, they've got a blink up on Eris, so they can go for some saving plays. Abbat just finishes up the Manta, but you've also got the BKB flying in from Ben-Hur. So there's still a lot more here from Execration, and Signal, I don't think they want to fight. They cannot fight into the Aegis. Just too much coming out from Palos.
Yeah, but if you don't fight, you're going to lose that final outer tower. You can already see Execration, they're making their way down to the bot lane, where there is only one tier 2 tower left standing. Although you don't want to really take the fight with the Aegis, you might have to. They are kind of banking on having the PL be able to push them back late game. But even that's starting to look a little bit doubtful as Palos. He's really getting out of control with this farm. He almost has a butterfly up now.
Yeah, and once that's up and running, of course, a lot of the damage you were applying with Abbat kind of disappears because of that mischance. So Palos just gets a lot tankier. It will take a while to rectify that from RPL, and that's just a lot more time where Palos is basically uncontrollable. So Signal, they are farming across the map. They are trying to find things. I believe we are seeing James's BKB finish up. So he has the Blink BKB initiation. They need to be able to burst someone down in with all the blinks they have. It's just that everyone's just so tanky with all the auras from BHM.
Yeah, I mean, the ideal person to go after would probably be Ben-Hur with that Blink initiation on the DK, but he's got a BKB up now on the Quap. We'll have another BKB coming out now on Jamesy. They're trying to take a top tier 1 tower, but Execration? No, they will not try to force the bot lane in. They're going to take their time. They still have plenty of time left on the Aegis, I believe. It's going to be a matter of whether they really want to try and go for a high ground push with that Aegis, or whether they're just going to go for a big team fight.
Yeah, I think they're just waiting for a couple of item pickups here. The Butterfly is just about to be completed by Palos. So once they have that tool, the damage shoots up, the sustain shoots up, and again, the troll just becomes really unstoppable there. There you go. It's up and running. You are looking at Yaha's Blink in about 200 gold as well. So once that's up, our Nyx can get into a lot better positions. Not like he hasn't been, but this just allows more flexibility for Yaha in putting himself in these fights.
Basher now coming out on a bat. Bit more lockdown on this PL. Could be a game changer here for a bat. Execration. They are still taking their time here, allowing space for Signal Ultra. They have a huge net worth lead. It's just continuing to go up right now for Execration. You see that Signal Ultra, they've kind of been standing up to the top lane with this DK Grimstroke, just constantly keeping the wave pushed down.
Yeah, I think that's the best they can really hope for right now. They don't want to commit too hard. They can't be alone in farming like this because of Yaha. So at least as two, both of them are getting EXP, and you are securing Jamesy some stable farm. So they're not quite being punished for that just yet. Execration just kind of happy to trade farm, although if they want to use that Aegis, it is starting to tick away.
It seems a little detrimental to play like this for Execration. Like, you're just delaying the game out too much. You are still up against the PL DK. It can turn really ugly really quick. They're feeling confident. I can't blame them. Now with that level 20 on Palos, it looks like that's what they were waiting for. Plus 20% evasion on that troll now. So he's hardly really going to get hit by these illusions at all. It's on to the high ground. Keep in mind, a bat doesn't have buyback gold right now, so he won't be able to get back into this team fight if he does go down. In fact, nobody on the side of Signal Ultra does. So they take down the T3. Palos still holding the Aegis, but no, we're going to have a Dark Rift out of here. Looks like bot lane, Ben-Hur does end up killing off Jamesy on the DK, and that's why they didn't want to keep going. It was not going to be fun playing a 5v3 situation in that mid lane at all.
No. And that was some pretty good timing as well, as the Aegis does expire on Palos. So they get a free bailout. They just take a tier 3, slowly but surely, still chipping away on the map. They did lose that tier 2 top though, but looks like Palos is just ready to run into everyone by himself.
He's going to be a little bit careful about this. Signal Ultra, though, not really daring to try and take that kind of initiation on the troll. I can't really blame them for that. It seems like Execration are once again perhaps ready to try and go high ground, but no. Ben-Hur's taking an outpost. And they're just trying to secure the map right now for their end of things. Just no real rush. They don't seem to really respect the PO that could come out of nowhere late game and really abuse the fact that he is Phantom Lancer.
Yeah, I think the biggest factor there is the fact that he's not going to be able to get a MKB anytime soon.
Yaha,
Oh, Abat.
nice impale. They've got no mana left on the PL. There is going to be a Soulbind flying out, but Abat should end up falling. He's ticking out to that Ice Blast damage. Meanwhile, Van going down very quick. The Battle Trance of Palos will take care of him. And well, I can probably say the same for Eris right now. He will also end up dying. James, he does manage to TP out on the DK, and surprisingly enough, Abat barely survives after the Ice Blast passive was worn off. I was for sure thinking he was just dead, but nobody really chased him down for that final tick of damage. And with that, Execration will still go into the mid lane anyway.
Yeah, I don't think this is a massive issue. Like, Abat, even if he's alive, can't do anything to Palos. So the racks are still gonna go. We'll see how much exactly Execration can find, though.
Looks like they may just back after one. And yeah, they're just taking advantage of the Dark Rift of BHM. They forgot Yaha, but they'll go all the way back to the fountain, get a reset going for themselves, and it seems like that's the idea. They're just going to do this over and over again while continuing to maintain a net worth lead. And that net worth lead now is at that 20k mark. Now, I still get, you know, for their sake, worried because Abat is eventually going to get to that point where he could probably fight back. It's just not going to be for now.
Yeah. It's, I know. I feel like Abat with this build, though, like straight into the Abyssal, that does help. And you can maybe burst down Ben-Hur for sure, but they've had that Blink initiation for a while, and they haven't been able to punish Ben-Hur anywhere. So the biggest thing is that the Abyssal's not going to help you hit Palos. Again, he went for that evasion talent. There's just no MKB coming out or anything to stop the misses from happening. So he's always going to be consistently tanky. And when it comes down to a big fight, Palos just has free reign.
Well, BHM also has a Lotus Orb up now. It's going to feel quite nice up against all the stuns and silences you do have on Signal Ultra. Speaking of Signal Ultra, they are just sticking as a team. James is trying to go into a Heaven's Halberd on that DK, which is going to be fairly important, of course, up against that Troll and even the Underlord.
Yeah. That's their best way of handling Palos right now. Just disarm him, and it's tricky though. Palos does have a Satanic up as well. As long as he times it right, even if you get some good damage in, he's just gonna heal back up every single time.
Execration waiting for the Roshan, and it is up. Nice early Rosh for this Radiant side. Of course, the side of Signal Ultra should be well aware that there is a possibility it is upon us. Bat does just finish off his Abyssal and does actually get an Orb of Destruction on top of that, but chooses not to use it. Do they realize the Rosh is happening? It won't matter. It's happening way too quickly. Palos once again will take it for himself. He'll also hold the cheese. And we do see a smoke from Signal Ultra. I'm not sure if this is the time to try and fight, especially considering Yaha just broke the smoke. Signal, they will obviously not take the fight. They will back out.
Yeah, it's a bit of a scary situation for Signal now, having to deal with so many lives on our Troll. Again, it's not just the Aegis and Cheese, but the Satanic and the Battle Trance as well. So much for Palos to play with to stay alive, and the only thing you have is the Spirit Vessel to stop the heals. But guess what? Van doesn't have charges.
No, he doesn't. That is problematic. So they gave the cheese over to Ben-Hur now on the Queen of Pain as well, so Palos feeling like he doesn't really need it. And I would have to agree with that sentiment, as he does have a Satanic up now on that Troll. Just takes out the tier 3 tower, no contention there. Ben-Hur, or Jamesy rather, trying to go onto that AA. They do snowball him up. Peter Malice is going to be nice from BHM. They do burst down RR, but what a Sonic Wave coming out from Ben-Hur once again. And it's looking just really bad for Signal Ultra. They will lose their Veno. Abat is being slowly chased away. He has Doppel in a second. He will get it off, but they are going to chase him down, root him in place. RR's there for his revenge, and that PO is definitely dead. No buybacks available on all three heroes there from Signal Ultra. Execration can just essentially have free reign over the base of the Dire now.
Are under attack.
Yeah, they didn't have to expend the Aegis there, so Palos is just comfy enough to stay in front.
And they call
They
GG.
even have the cheese, yeah, that's it. There's nowhere. Ooh.
BHM gonna Dark Rift them out one more time. Cool guys don't
Yeah.
stare at explosions. That
No.
Ancient will explode very quickly for Execration. That does mean for their first game of the BTS Pro Series Season 2, John, they do take out a win.
Yeah, a really strong showing from Execration, just running a solid draft, nothing fancy, simple Dota. They were patient, they just got farm and Palos, and they had BHM on a very solid lane. That's all they needed.
With that, of course, we do have a Game 2 coming up very soon between these two. It is MLP Dota and John X Fire. We'll be back after a short break to see how this series ends up finishing off.